I don't understand. How do we tell American citizens if you test positive, even if it's dead virus that's been in your system for 10 days, because you can test positive days after you're no longer infectious, and you can't enter your own country, but people, if you arrive illegally, whether you test positive or not, if you say the magic words for asylum, you get to stay in the country. And this is a real life scenario. I know people that are abroad, they test positive, they're not sick, maybe they were sick a week ago, and they can't afford to continue to pay for hotel rooms and staying overseas until they can finally score a negative test. Has the time come for us to lift this, in your view, having been so integral in our COVID response? Are we at a point now where American citizens should be allowed to return to their country without testing negative?
I'm not. Thank you for the question. It's an important question. I don't have the answer to that. I mean, we work with our CDC colleagues to continue to examine the feasibility of that and the desirability of that. I think the idea of having an immigration issue mixed with a public health issue for the general population, I think those probably should be separated.
Well, except they're interrelated because they're both involve groups of people entering the United States. One group is citizens of the country entering legally. The other group, frankly, are people that are not entering legally. The group that's not entering legally, even if they test positive, if they're even tested, get to stay. The American citizen can't re-enter their own country until they produce a negative. And my point is, if we've reached a point in COVID where we no longer need Title 42 as a COVID restriction for illegal entry, why do we still need travel restrictions for American citizens for legal entry into their own country? That's the genesis of the question. That's where I think the link is. It sort of seems to be at odds with it.
Yeah.
We've recently seen that not just the Biden administration, but the Biden administration and others in the policy realm have been actively promoting and supporting the use of things like puberty blockers and hormone therapy for young boys and girls. I want to sort of limit my question to minors for what they have termed gender transforming care. That's not an FDA-approved use for puberty blockers and hormone therapy. I don't believe in any people, but especially in minors. So as the NIH is America's medical research agency, what work have we done at NIH, what work's been done to determine if this non-FDA-approved use of these medicines, this off-label use of these medicines, is appropriate for minors seeking gender-transforming care?
So NIH funds a small number of observational studies to gather the data on the effects of treatments that transgender youth and their parents have chosen. And there are also a small number of studies that describe the health issues and risks, including HIV, that are unique to these transgender youth. But all of the research in this space is observational. We do no interventional work.
I guess my question is, before, one thing is a decision made by an adult, right? And especially given the irreversible nature of some of these treatments, isn't there some wisdom in the notion that before policymakers are out there promoting the off-label use of medications that lead to permanent changes, that there be some more research done on its impact 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now?
So as you know, transgender youth are more vulnerable to depression, anxiety, engaging in self-harm. And so it is important that we examine and evaluate the potential effects of these treatments. Researchers are observing longer-term psychological impact of these protocols. And so by looking at individuals, transgender youth with and without histories of puberty suppression, we'll be able to better answer the types of questions that you're posing.
Yeah, I guess that's my point. My point is we don't know what its long-term implications are when we weigh the costs and the benefits. The FDA hasn't approved this, and yet we have policymakers promoting it. And I think that's an important point. I mean, we clearly don't want anybody harming themselves and things of this nature, but we don't know what these policy decisions are being made on the basis of observational guidance and by your own admission without any sort of long-term trajectory on its holistic impact.